Praise and Production.
Okie dokie. Another episode, Ramblin Ant. Gumbolaya podcast, Ramblin Ant. I am C.A. Purcell. Hope you're doing well. And last video, I was talking about, I was talking about the relationship circles, who's in your circle and whatnot. And I appreciate the phone calls, and I am most definitely okay with direct messages, and I really don't mind. I would appreciate maybe say something, post those comments and stuff like that so I can get, my numbers going and whatnot. But it's all good. I don't really mind. You can text me, you can Facebook message me and stuff like that. I don't really mind. But it would kind of help to get my legitimacy going, But the last video I recorded, I might post other episodes before this, but the last one I recorded was last week, which was the beginning of the year, and I was talking about the relationship circles and how to understand the difference between everybody who deserves dignity, honor, love, and respect versus the people who you let into your heart, the people that are intimately close and who are allowed access to the vulnerable places. You know what I mean? Make those decisions. And an interesting question that came as I was doing that, and that was also a part of a conversation I had with someone who was talking to me about the video, who you just never heard that concept of those circles and stuff before, is how to handle someone that is in your life that is at risk of losing your preferential choice, so to speak. How do you manage the work that you need to do before you ask someone? So this person is strongly considering what I was talking about regarding not being quick to judge someone and to X them out, to do the work of wanting to be reasonable and work through and not just get out of my face kind of thing, right? Which is honorable. I think everyone that you choose to let in your life deserves a little bit of effort in terms of you're not perfect, they're not perfect. How do we work on ourselves together? And then, if you kind of find that they don't know how to respect boundaries and things like that, then you gotta put them in the right circle, right? They might need to just be in one, right? However, one of the points that we talked a lot about that was very applicable to their life and their situation was what I want to talk about now, which is, sorry it takes so long to get to the point. I was giving context, which is, even before all of those things, it's interesting how I feel like I'm going backwards in concept, but these matters are relevant, so I'm rambling, so whatever. That video was about choosing who you let into your life, right? The fact that you can't choose who exists on the planet, right? But you can choose who gets to those inner levels. You can't choose who your neighbors are unless you own the building. And even then, your choice might be up for scrutiny in terms of discrimination and stuff like that. So, you know what I mean? You usually can't choose your neighbors past the point of choosing where you live. And, people that do that often get in trouble for, discrimination and whatnot. But you can choose who is close to you, who you spend your time with, yada, yada, yada. Taking a step backwards or inwards rather, choosing who you are. That's what our conversation was about. So that's what I'm going to share. Choosing who you are. I'm pretty sure almost all of you can relate to a place where you find yourself talking to someone who is justifying horrible behavior by referring to the behavior of somebody else, right? They did this, so I did that. I have been there myself, but when I was very young, I learned a concept that helped me do better than I guess I could have if I did know the concept. And that concept is hurt people, right? So you've seen that in memes galore and on TV shows, and you know, it's a clichéic phrase that is repeated a lot, and it's because it's very true. Someone who has been hurt or who is hurting, until they reach a point of clarity, spiritual peace, of healing, until they're able to come to terms with and to contextualize what they have been through or what they are going through. It is very, very common for people in that place to behave and speak from the pain that they have gone through or that they are going through. And that foundation and that root does not grow into good things, right? Your language and behavior that comes from pain comes out as pain, and it usually causes pain. Hurt people end up hurting people unless they deal with hurt. Everybody doesn't know how to deal with it. Everybody doesn't have people around them that know how to help them deal with it. Everybody doesn't have good teachers. Everybody doesn't have wise counsel that they are aware that they can seek. So some people end up with generations of dysfunction that is their entire environment. So then here you come trying to speak reason to someone who is 3 generations in, let's say, racism, or let's say, or sexism, or who comes from a long line of impoverished people, right? Impoverished people, they usually end up with a lot of beliefs about how the world works because they have been operating from scarcity. It happens, right? Not everybody, but that ends up happening. So then when you're trying to talk to someone about the idea of prosperity or abundance or things like that, or even sometimes charity, someone who doesn't have much very easily could be like, why would I help somebody else when I ain't got nothing, right? I've actually found that, people with less end up helping more. It has to deal with hard stuff. But point being, you choose who you are. So when someone presents behavior and language that is hurtful to you, you choose how you respond. As we grow up in life and we go from childhood to adulthood, one of the maturation steps is learning the difference between reaction and response. Reacting is instinctive, it's immediate, it is without thought, right? Reaction. A response is after you have considered what has happened and what you think should be your response. It usually takes time unless it's in an area that you have already spent time developing in and you're able to respond quickly, right? A good example, and I never mean to make it seem like I'm all at, but there are some things that I'm better at than some of the things that I'm not good at. One of the things I can honorably say that I do well is I'm not easily triggered in traffic, right? You ride with some folk where someone changes a lane, something very simple, and your homie who's driving just blows their top. Oh my God, honk, 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 middle finger, right? That's not me. I tend to be a much more peaceful driver for a lot of different reasons. And I was in the car with a friend, a couple years ago, many years ago. I was taking her home, and someone that was in a lane to our right, they started to change lanes and they didn't see me. It's crazy because I got a Toyota Sequoia. I have a big truck, right? And they changed lanes and they bumped against the truck a little bit, right? And it was on the highway. We was up in speed. So it was a significant moment, right? I noticed what happened, focused on my driving. That was crazy. I'll check the damage when I get out, right? My friend goes nuts, rolls the window down, starts screaming out of the window, reaches over, is blowing my horn, cussing people out, hoobada, hoobada, hoobada. I'm like, yo, what are you doing? Obviously, I can't tell her how to behave. She was a grown woman, right? But I'm like, yo, I'm driving. This is my truck. You are a passenger with me. Let me just at least get the respect of I don't want to be that kind of caravan. That's not how I'm driving over here. That's not how I'm doing. And if that's what you're going to do, then you might need to go separately, because I'm not trying to be fighting up on the highway and road raging, and I'm not trying to be ducking bullets if somebody pull out something. Over that, worst case scenario, I got to get some body work done on the truck. And that would suck, but I would rather that than go to blows with somebody. Because if it gets that bad, there is a point in physical altercations where you might die or they might die. I don't want either one. But she was angry. And, it was what happened was crazy. That person was not paying attention. They hit us. It could have been serious. You know what I'm saying? It's not necessarily wrong. I just did not want to react. My response was, let me drive. Let me make sure I'm straight. As a matter of fact, I think that might not have been in my Sequoia. That might have been in my Tahoe. Still a big truck. I had a Chevrolet Tahoe, Chevy Tahoe. Right? Big truck. Impossible to miss, but it was at night. We on the 101 at night. They obviously were not taught how to check. Well, I don't know. The term blind spot has been politically corrected, and I can't remember what it's supposed to be. When I was younger, I was taught to call it the blind. So it's the space between your side view and if you look backwards, it's called a blind. The space between your side view and your rear view. I can't remember what it's called now. It's another view, the hidden view, something. Anyways, I was taught to, you look over your shoulder, you check your mirrors, and then before you actually make the turn, you're supposed to look. All right? This person obviously didn't do that. She's going nuts, yelling and screaming and stuff like that. That's just not me. So in choosing who you want to be, somebody else's behavior can really hurt. And I've definitely been through that. I've been devastated by some things that people, very close to me, have done. And it was soul crushing. And I definitely had every socially agreeable justification to act up, to do some stuff, right? To respond in kind. But that's not who I want to be. That's not who I want to be. And the purpose of this one, my mindset in doing this was to encourage you to consider you choose who you want to be. If somebody treats you poorly, you choose if you respond by doing the same thing they did. Some people have a lot of justifications for it. I don't agree with that. I think that that's giving somebody else power over your life. And I don't even want to get into the concept of power, because that's a big one. But my point just is, You choose who you are. You choose how you live. You choose what you say. You choose what you do. You can't control other people. So when someone does something you don't like, it's okay to process and realize I'm not okay with that. That's crossed a boundary that's important to me. And you go through the process of explaining this is not okay with me. I don't want to be treated like that. No more. I'm not about that. That's not cool. Right? And if they continue to cross your boundary, then you have whatever amount of conversation you feel like is necessary to justify being clear about it. This is not okay with me. I've mentioned this to you before. This is serious for me. I'm not okay with this. I'm not interested in having this type of treatment in my life. I don't want to be treated this way. I don't want to be around that. I'm not okay with it. This is a boundary. I need you to respect it if you respect me and if you want us to stay in relationship, whatever that relationship might be. Right? And obviously there's different versions depending on the type of relationship you have with whomever is the offender, right? And always take a moment to consider if you're at fault as well. Everything ain't everybody else's fault. Sarah Silverman has a wonderful joke where she said, if all of your roommates have been assholes, you're the asshole. And I love it. Shout out to Ms. Silverman. She's amazing in my book. She's brilliant. She's very skilled, and I think she's the tops. But I love that joke because it's a very concise way of making a very serious point, which is everything ain't everybody else's fault. And if you are living that kind of life where you cannot get away from the issue of people, you got an issue. That's back to the circles. Remember one, right? Everybody exists. If they're alive, they exist. And if you can't find places in life where you feel at peace, where people's humanity isn't triggering for you, you got to get right with God. You got to get right with whatever you believe to be the higher power than human consciousness. There's something. And if you don't believe there's nothing, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what people who don't believe in some type of sovereign creator, I don't know what they do in that place because, morals change, ethics change, concepts of right and wrong change. There was a point where it was point in history where it was socially acceptable for a husband to beat a wife depending on her behavior. That's not cool, right? There was never a point where I feel like a healthy, emotionally mature and healthy individual would say, I'm okay with this person physically beating me, unless you're into that. Just kidding. You know what I'm saying? There was a point where that was legal. It was socially acceptable. And I think you'd be hard pressed to find somebody that says, yeah, I made a comment this person didn't like, so I should have gotten punched in the mouth. No. So you choose who you are. You choose how you treat people. So when you're wronged, when you're hurt, when someone crosses your boundaries, things like that, you choose who you are. Are you the type of person who doesn't forgive? If that's your path, I can tell you it's not going to go well. Because everybody's going to mess up. Like, it's inevitable. Every human being will reach the limit of their humanity, to quote my pastor. Everybody does. And sorry, church folk, if you're watching, I'm sorry I cussed before. I think I said asshole or something like that. So, and now I've just said it again. So my bad. I might be cussing because I'm kind of free flowing, and maybe I'll do one on language. I got thoughts on language, and maybe I'll share, and y'all can give me comments and stuff. But you choose who you are. You choose what kind of person you want to be. I honestly and truly do believe in the four that I mentioned: love, honor, dignity, and respect. That's how I want to treat people. That's how I want to live. For those of you that have faith in Scripture, Galatians, I think it's 5:22, is a longer list, which I would say is much more comprehensive. in scriptural sovereignty and in God's sovereignty, which is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control, right? 9, love, joy, and peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. That's the type of person I want to be. So when someone else does not display love in their behavior, it doesn't mean I get a pass not to be loving. As hurt as I might be, and I have been hurt. It happens. I have an awareness now that I brought some very serious traumatic and emotional baggage into my marriage, and it has affected how I have handled some things that have happened in our relationship. Right, and the same is true from my wife. She brought some emotional baggage and some outlooks on life that have affected our relationship. And we have to go through that stuff together. And some of that stuff is devastating. And I mean, in the true sense of the word, devastating. The awareness of the areas of life where you don't lock in concept and in agreement with someone else's life outlook. And the more you disregard facing those areas, the worse the fallout will be once you have to deal with it. So you choose who you are. You choose. When someone disappoints you, you choose how to handle that. When someone crosses a boundary, you choose how to respond. When someone offends you, you choose how you express it. How is it better for someone to offend you by you insulting them? Why is that better? Somebody says something or does something that's disrespectful, so you in turn speak about them like they're worthless or horrible, or right? You pick apart their character. Doesn't make anything better. Might give you that, it might give you that rush of adrenaline that comes from feeling like you've vanquished an enemy, so to speak. But you've made somebody feel bad. Doesn't fix anything. You can't beat somebody into love. It just doesn't work. The coercive, I also should do, I just got to remember all this stuff. The coercive path versus the path of love, big difference. You cannot force somebody to love you. Just doesn't work. As soon as the force is removed, the truth will come out. So if you are trying to force someone to have feelings for you that are positive, you will find out. The only thing that begets love is love. Coercion begets coercion. You oppress somebody, they will rebel. That's what happens. You love somebody, if they know how to show love and receive it and give it back, you'll get it back. But if you decide to be a loving person, right? If that's what you do, if you plant seeds of love in your life all the time, and that is your decision, you will reap that harvest. And the opposite is true. If you choose not to be loving, if you are all about yourself and you make decisions to do whatever you want to do because it's what you want to do, you will hurt people and you will lose people. And some of those people you lose, you might actually care about. And then you realize you've hurt someone that actually loved you, like for real. And everybody's got their limit. This happened since the beginning of time, So you choose who you're going to be. You choose how you're going to treat people. And I'm saying to you, choose to treat people the way you decide. And take a moment to make that decision. One very difficult area of thought is death. However, because I'm a music minister and a musician, I was very young playing for funerals. Now they're called homegoings and celebrations of life and all that. But, they were called funerals when I started playing, right? You play for a funeral, right? You see people grieving the loss of their loved one, and you see the difference in how they talk about somebody. You choose who you're going to be. And once you're done, you can't explain nothing. You can't go back and be like, oh, I meant to show you love, but I was working all the time and blah. What's going to happen? That person's going to get up and be like, this person ain't love me and they were never there and blah, blah. I think I just hit the mic. I'm sorry. I'm totally sorry for hitting the microphone. I apologize. I hope that didn't hurt your ears. I'm very sorry. You can't do that. Ain't no behind the scenes footage when you expire. Your obit is going to be however you lived your life. So as a matter of fact, I think today Pastor even said something along the lines of, I think he said something along the lines of live a life that will allow someone to say what you want them to say during your eulogy, something along those lines. You know, he's a pastor, so he does eulogies and stuff like that. And sometimes it's difficult to say anything positive about somebody. So he was joking. I don't know if he's joking, but he was saying today, if I can't speak about Christ in you, if I can't talk about the love that you gave, I'm gonna talk about Christ by himself. I'm gonna talk about love by itself without the you part. And I'm going to get up and I'm going to say, Christ did this and Christ did that. And this is why it's important. And everybody, let's go home. Ain't going to be much about you because you didn't give much for him to say. It was very funny. But, you know, that's something to really think about. The fact that you have the opportunity to make an impression on the people you interact with. So you choose what kind of impression that's going to be. Are you the type of person that somebody can call when they need help? Are you the type of person that doesn't understand that human beings make mistakes? Are you the type of person that would make somebody feel judged if they confess or if they offer you a vulnerable part of their heart? If they kind of want to tell you something that's private and you know, possibly shameful that they're asking for help with, you're going to beat them down and make them feel like crap? You choose who you're going to be. I was talking to a friend today who was devastated by a loss in their life, a very, very close loss. This person was very low, grieving, and, you know, heart was very heavy. And they spoke to a loved one in the family. And the loved one said, you know, how you doing? And my friend said, you know, I'm really struggling. It's very difficult. And, you know, these are all the things that are happening after this loss or whatever. And the person's family member was like, damn, are you always upset? Is anything going well in your life? Right? This is at the time of a loss of a loved one, right? That was very harmful for my friend to hear because he loved this person, right? Now, obviously, like I'm saying, the person that said this was, you know, dealing with their own things. Could very well be that response came because they were hurting themselves and, you know, they were speaking from their own pain, or maybe they just didn't really realize how wrong of a time it was to say that. I don't know. You know, could be anything. However, you choose who you're going to be. You know, he could have punched this dude in the face. You know, my friend could have punched that guy in the face that acted like that. You know, that would have been crazy. But that hurt my friend to hear his family members speak to him like that. Right? So you choose who you're going to be. You choose how you're going to treat people. And those seeds will grow into the life that you choose. So if you sow seeds of love, it'll grow into a lovely garden. If you sow seeds of judgment, you will be surrounded by judgmental people, or you'll be alone. If you sow seeds of kindness, when you need help, you'll have it. Because you've been kind to watch the old movie, It's a Wonderful Life, right? We have to watch that movie every year with my in-laws. They love that, but he loves that movie, right? And it's a beautiful story. It is. We've just seen it a billion times, but it's a beautiful story. It's a story of a person who chose a life of service to his community. And then when times got difficult, the community responded in kind. And he realizes that he has a wonderful life, even though there are things that he wanted in life that he didn't achieve. It's a wonderful life. Like, share, and subscribe. If any of this makes sense, I don't know. If any of this makes sense, share it with somebody that you think it might help. Please feel free to hit me up, make comments. Feel free to text me. Feel free to call. Feel free to message me on Facebook or whatever. It's all good. Peace, love, happiness. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your time. Enjoy your friends. Enjoy your family. Show love. All of those things. Kisses. Mwah, mwah.
If it's my time, then it's my time. Worry about yours, 'cause I got mine. 'Cause I got mine. Worry about yours, 'cause I got mine. 'Cause I got mine. Praise and production.